I started getting approached by brands, and then 2020 things just exploded because the only way for brands to reach people really was through social media. So I got great opportunities, and most importantly, I got a ton of experience working with and producing content with and for brands.
Welcome to the Whiskey Lifestyles Women in Whiskey series. I am your host, Rashawn Hall. We have a great episode scheduled for you today with a good friend of mine, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of laughs. So we're going to bring her on in here. She is a content creator and an author. She is known on the socials and on the internet as the Cocktail Snob. Welcome, Camille Wilson. Welcome to the Whiskey Lifestyles Women in Whiskey series.
Thank you. I'm excited. Honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is, it's been a long time coming. I think we tried to get you in season 2 and you were like, nah, I don't have the time for you. The book was coming out. I'm very booked and busy. So,
wow.
Season 3, I'm appreciative. So first off, tell everyone a little bit about Camille, the person, that we can kind of get into how the Cocktail Snob came to be.
Okay, cool. So I am Camille, born and raised in New York. I actually like this question because nobody asks about who I am as a person. I am a higher ed professional. I was a first generation college student, and I find a lot of joy working with students, helping them through the college process. But of course, on the side, I am a content creator and author. I started the Cocktail Snob about 5 years ago as a way to help people create their own happy hour at home, because I've always just found that there's a misconception that you need a lot of fancy tools or really expensive ingredients or a lot of ingredients to make good drinks at home. And that's really not the case. I mean, some of my favorite classic cocktails have like 3 ingredients in them. So I created the Cocktail Snob as a way to kind of demystify some of those perceptions and just help people feel a little bit more confident and empowered to make drinks with things that they already have in their pantry and their refrigerator. So that's me.
Awesome. So I feel like I've known Camille as long as the Cocktail Snob has been around. We met at events, etc. And she said she's in higher ed. She's not specific that she works for quite possibly the greatest university in the United States of America. Am I okay to say what it is, or I don't want to?
Nah.
Pull back if not.
We can leave some mystery. Okay. We can leave some mystery.
Okay, I'm just going to say it is an amazing university. I graduated from there, so it says it all there. So I had, although we've known each other long, I did not know that was the initial ethos of the Cocktail Snob. What was your cocktail experience? What were your kind of as a drinker prior to that? What made that? I feel like that makes a lot of sense. What made you say, I can do this? This is a thing that Camille can do.
I think because I definitely had that perception for a long time. In college, I did not really drink. Even when I was of age, I just didn't understand, like, what was the hype with alcohol? This does not taste good at all. And I just couldn't understand why people got so excited about it until I moved back to New York for graduate school. And that's when, craft cocktails were really, there was a movement. And for the first time, I had cocktails with like fresh ingredients and bitters, and the same techniques that chefs would apply to making a dish were now being used to create cocktails. And that really excited me. I would go home and try to like recreate things I had when I was out. And it, struck me that it wasn't as hard as I thought. Like, you don't have to get the fancy ingredients. You don't have to have expensive tools. You can use a lot of the things that you already have. So I just would start experimenting at home. I love entertaining. So I would also invite friends to, taste my experiments too. And, that just kind of led me down a path of developing my own recipes as I learned different techniques and like sort of the foundations of mixology. I just started doing things on my own and creating my own cocktails. So.
Okay, very cool. And you noted that, you said you started experiencing cocktails, you came back to grad school, mm-hmm. and you were having that experience. Do you remember that first craft cocktail bar? Do you remember that, or that first drink that changed the game for you? You need to think about it a little bit. I will tell you that for me, I remember it's so crazy that I have a terrible memory, many of the people in my personal life know, but I can remember I was at Maison Premiere and William Elliott was like, I was like, I just want something with the summer. I was with my wife and a friend, and she was like, and he was like, oh, I was like, I want something refreshing. I got it. He's like, I'll make you a daiquiri. And I was like, no, no, no. I don't want a frozen,
Yes.
Tommy Bahama. I don't want blenders. And he's like, no, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
And I watched him build, as you said, a very simple 3 ingredient daiquiri, which is, for those who don't know, rum, lime, and literally just a little sugar or simple syrup, and changed my changed my personal opinion of craft cocktails and led me down this path. So would love to know if there is a moment or a cocktail that was similar for you.
It's actually the same answer. It's the daiquiri as well. I too thought that it was frozen and pink, and that type of drink has just never been my thing. I don't really love sweet things, like things that are cloyingly sweet. And every frozen daiquiri I've ever had was that. So I don't remember what bar it was, but I had the same experience where I was like, why are they giving me something frozen? Only to find out that the classic daiquiri has no blender. It's not pink, and it's my favorite cocktail to this day.
Okay, awesome. So as you got into this, as the Cocktail Snob evolved, and you started with the blog and social media, when did you know, like, I'm on to something? When did it become more of it went beyond just you're doing this for you, or you thought somebody, a couple friends might be interested too? Oh shit, this is big.
It's weird to say this, but I don't even think I've had that moment, but I I guess, okay, I'll start over. I think for me, it happened the first time someone made a drink that I created, like an original recipe that I had, shot, like, mixed, shot on my camera, put it on Instagram, and someone said, like, that looked good enough that I wanted to recreate that at home. So I think that was the moment for me where I was like, okay, maybe this is something where people are feeling like, okay, this isn't making a drink at home is not that hard. It's something that I can do. It's ingredients that are accessible to me. This looks amazing. The way she photographed it, the way she garnished it, like it's something that I absolutely want to try. And I'm going to make that for myself.
So yes, you also have a book that talks about cocktails. So you've made several cocktails over the course of these 5 years. But as someone who also creates content, and I know how I feel when I'm trying to shoot something, it's kind of like, is this working? Does this make sense? But when we first met, you had the DSLR. You were shooting high res. You weren't. I was on the iPhone thing. I am still an iPhone guy. That is how I shoot. But you had the full camera setup. You were about your business. Whether it's for someone else, or what kind of kept you inspired to be like, okay, this content looks right? How did you overcome imposter syndrome? I guess is a very long-winded way of saying that.
It's hard. I still battle with imposter syndrome, 5 years in. I will tell you, I did not start with a camera. I had a phone, and I swore up and down, you can ask anybody, that first year I said, I am not going to spend money on a camera. I don't know how to use it. I don't know what all those buttons do. I am going to continue with my phone. I even bought like a special iPhone lens that, elevated the photos. And then I realized, as I was looking at other creators, and I was just not able to get the shot that I wanted. Because the thing with food and drink photography is like, you want people to like almost salivate when they see it. You want them to get excited about it. And I just was not able to do that at that time with the phone. iPhone has come a long way since, but at that time, I just wasn't able to capture things the way that I wanted to. So I kind of just like stepped out on faith. I was really inspired by another creator, Dom from Dom in the City. She had taught herself everything about her camera. She was shooting manually. And I was just like, girl, help me. So I was really inspired by her. And I just felt like, she can do it. I can definitely at least give it a shot. And, I still face imposter syndrome like every day. The algorithm plays games with all of us. People don't see your content. But every once in a while, there is someone who's like, oh my gosh, I read your book, or I made this drink, or I ordered something because you said that this ingredient tastes amazing. And those are the things that really keep me going every day. So.
Okay. That's awesome. So that means now I now know that when I decide to also make my camera journey, you're gonna pass it on. You're gonna pass it on what Dom passed on you. I'm
I,
not gonna
I
come to
will
you and
help.
say, Camille, let's do it. Also shout out to Dominique. Yes, someone also we would need to get on this series. Okay, so you all right, so yeah, so you were doing that, you had the camera, you were doing your content.
Yeah.
When did the when did the shift happen? We talked about when you felt it, when it felt different for you. When did the brands come in? When did the book opportunities? And we're gonna, like I said, we'll talk about the book. When did that when did that shift happen for you? When do you remember that being like, oh, this is a revenue opportunity now?
Yeah, that's a great question because I didn't even know that people could make money creating content. I literally was just doing it off of the love, the passion. Like I just loved sharing content. Like I didn't know that people could make a full-time job, full-time salaries off of this kind of thing. And I remember the first brand that approached me. It was more of a gifting opportunity, but I was excited because I'm like, wow, they think that my content is good enough for them. Like it just made me so excited. And, that was after getting the camera. So I felt like I was getting that positive reinforcement right away. Like, okay, you leveled up your equipment, you're learning how to use it, you're taking your time, you're practicing, and it's actually paying off. And I would say probably by like year two, like halfway into year two, that's when I started, getting approached by brands. And then 2020, things just exploded because
Hmm.
the only way for brands to reach people really was through social media. So I got great opportunities. And most importantly, I got a ton of experience working with and producing content with and for brands. So oh, and then the book, the book opportunity came shortly thereafter. It was someone who worked at Chronicle Books, my editor, Dina. She is awesome. She followed me on Instagram and literally said, I love how simple your recipes are. And I have a book concept. And I think that you would be a good fit to write for it. And I thought it was a scam. I literally thought it was like a spam email. I'm not kidding. I was like, this has got to be an African prince, Nigerian prince scam, something happening. But it was real. And she just really appreciated the simplicity and how, my approach to creation and recipe development and, kind of took off from there. I think that was like year three ish.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's amazing that something positive came out of the debacle that was the pandemic. But that, yeah, that's great. I mean, I also remember, yeah, I was watching your content. And many of us were also creating content, and just trying to figure out. Also, I think everyone was just drinking an inordinate amount at that time because you had to cope. Which I think is the juxtaposition of interesting. Like, yes, you were doing a lot of that brand stuff and a lot of alcohol stuff, but your cocktail book is a non-alcoholic cocktail book.
Yes.
So was that? So I'm assuming that was Dina. But what as someone who was doing, obviously cocktails with spirits, how did
Mhm.
you approach the? Well, also tell everyone the name of the book so we can plug, and get you some more sales.
Yes.
But how did you approach that? Given that you were doing, spirit forward or spirit based cocktails at that point.
Yeah, so the book is called Free Spirit Cocktails. It's 40 original non alcoholic cocktail recipes created by me. And it was interesting because when Dina first came to me with the concept, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. I had created mocktails and non alcoholic drinks on my page, but my page was about 95%, spirited drinks. But I was excited because one, my mom is not a drinker. Like she does not drink at all. She'll have a sip of sangria and the lady is like in bed for days. And I thought that it would be a cool way to honor her. And in addition to that, I thought that, not having spirits involved in any of the ingredients would kind of push my creativity to the next level and really force me to think hard like, okay, this needs to taste good, it needs to look good, it needs to be appealing, but we can't just lean on the tequila or lean on the rum. Like we've got to come with something else. So it was a really fun process, kind of like developing the recipes and really trying to think outside the box. So I used ingredients like tea, different syrups. I love making syrups. So I really just tried to be creative and come up with some really innovative flavors for those recipes.
Awesome. So I have, because I know you, I have what I think is going to be your answer to this question. I want to see if it matches up. In these 5 years, what has been the craziest, the pinch yourself, what in the cocktail snobs, in the like the journey of the cocktail snob, Camille Wilson becoming the cocktail snob. What has been that OMG Oprah pinch yourself moment?
Oh my God. I want to hear your answer. That's my answer.
I will tell it to you afterwards. I will tell it. I will give you a hint. Red, white, and blue is my hint. But that's all. That's the hint I'm gonna give you.
Red, white, and blue.
No, don't overthink it. Just answer the questions, and I'll tell you what that means.
Okay, my answer, because I don't know what you're talking about. My answer, I think it's two moments. I think the book absolutely for me was a pinch me moment. Like somebody is trusting me, little me, to write a book that they're going to publish and like stand behind and share with the public. I think that was definitely one. And then the other moment for me was a project that I did with BET actually about a year ago for the NAACP Image Awards. They were working with Smirnoff to create like 3 cocktails, and there was like a whole video series that aired, I think, during the awards on YouTube. It was like a big production. I just couldn't believe that they had picked me to do that. So now I'm dying to hear this red, white, and blue answer.
I'm mad that I forgot that. I'm mad I forgot about the moment. Red, white, cognac. Your trip to Cognac. That
Okay.
that trip you did to Cognac. Red, white, blue being the colors of the French flag.
Yeah. Yes.
Generic enough that you couldn't have guessed off the top what I was going to say. Okay.
No, because initially I was like, America.
See, that's why I was trying to keep it generic. Okay.
Tricky.
All right. So yeah. Okay. So that BET experience, the book experience, some of the other brands you work with. How do you determine what makes the most sense for you in terms of a brand or a partner that you work with? What given that, as you said, you work in higher education as your full-time job, so you have a finite amount of time. What says this is the right thing or it's not the right thing for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, like you said, I do have a full-time job. And in addition to having a very limited time, I get to be very picky because the source of my income is not these partnerships. It's my full-time job. So I really don't feel like I'm like beholden to any opportunity that comes my way. So for me, it's definitely about the values of the brand. What do they stand for? Like, I want to know. I want to make sure it aligns with mine. I also think about things like, is this something my audience is actually going to be excited about? Like the people in my community that follow me on Instagram, are they going to care about this? That's huge because, when a brand is partnering with you, they want something to come of that. They don't want to just like put the product in your hand and be like, all right, cool. They want either clicks to a website, they want awareness of a new product, they want sales, they want something. So I want to make sure it's something that is aligned with the community that I've created on Instagram and what I know about them that they'll be interested in. And then also, like, am I excited about it? Is it a brand that I've dreamed of working with? Is it a brand that's doing something new and innovative? Is it, a cool project where I really get to flex my creativity? Are there going to be a lot of restrictions? So those are all things that I definitely keep in mind when I am deciding whether or not to move forward with a partnership.
Okay, cool. And so to that end, is there, you want to break some news here? Is there a next partnership that you want to talk about? Is there another book? Is there, some sort of reality competition show? And I'm sincerely saying this just for anyone who's asking. I have no idea. We had not talked about that. I just feel like, that question leads to the natural, like, yeah, how do you continue? Or maybe if not, how do you continue this journey? What do you see as next for the next step in the Cocktail Snob's evolution?
Yeah, I love that question. I used to get that a lot, and I would just be like, Kanye shrug. I have no idea. I'm just kind of riding the wave. I'm seeing what comes. But now I will say I don't know about any reality TV potential or any book. I don't know. I'm open to all of it, but I don't know. One thing I will say is that I've decided that I really want to kind of like take the reins a little bit. I think for the first 5 years, I was just, and really the last 3 years, just like waiting for things to come to me, like waiting for brands to reach out. And it happened. And I was grateful and felt lucky every time, so blessed. But now I think I want to really like do things I want to do and like take the initiative to do it. So I have some ideas for some different kinds of content that I want to create. It's not nothing is solidified yet, but just know that there are some opportunities that I want for the future. So I want to kind of like almost show like proof of concept. So I'm kind of like creating the table, setting the table for myself so that when the opportunities do come, I can say, oh yeah, look, I've been doing this and here's an example. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let this episode / interview be your accountability partner. Let's give us one. Be generic. You can be generic. We're not talking about brands. We don't even talk about, dollars and cents.
Okay.
Let's put it out there.
So one of the things that I really enjoy is like, I don't want to say public speaking, but kind of like teaching people. And I've done the mixology classes, virtual, in person. I love doing that stuff. And I don't know if I want like a TV show necessarily, but I think it would be cool to like have a platform where I can share, outside of Instagram, where I can really share consistently with people about cocktails and things that I find interesting and nerd out about spirits and things like that. So something that I'm thinking about is, I don't know where it would live, but something to kind of like, support without saying too much, just thinking about an idea that I had to, get me out there in sort of like this hosting, speaking kind of position.
Okay. I just wanted something. I wanted a breadcrumb so then when it happens, I can pull the tape. We can pull the tape.
Yes,
and say,
like you heard it here first.
We had it. We knew. Okay. So we're gonna wrap this up in a few minutes, and we could do this forever. I love shooting the shit with you. But when did you? And we talked a little bit about this, but what do you think? And maybe this is the same as kind of like that moment. What do you think your biggest success has been with the Cocktail Snob? Is it the book? Is it something else? Is it the BET thing? Like what when you think about this, so you're like, I am most proud of.
Can I say two things?
Sure.
I think the first thing is kind of related to the camera situation. And it's just one example, but being able to just put myself out there and like teach myself and just figure it out. Like I came into this without ever touching a camera, knowing anything about a camera, didn't know anything about social media, didn't know anything about marketing, branding, any of that. But I've been able to, like make a name for myself and produce content that I think is beautiful and I'm proud of. And my mom is sharing it with her friends and her coworkers. And I'm just really proud that I stepped into the unfamiliar and have just been able to kind of just grow in that. And then I think the second thing I'm really proud of is just the community on social media. Like I know that probably seems like a small thing, but creating a community, growing a community is really, really hard. And, some people may look at, social media, may look at my followers, be like, oh, you don't have that many, but it took time. And for me, it's not so much about the number, but it's like the people that I get to have conversations with in my DM or my comments and just hearing from them, like, that they enjoy the content that I'm creating, even when I'm inconsistent, even when I'm like, I have no idea what to post, just knowing that it's like resonated with somebody. I feel really proud of myself for putting myself out there and doing that.
Okay. Well, if it makes you feel additionally better, you, and as you mentioned, Dom, you and Dominique, I consistently feel when I'm looking at social media, someone who also creates content, y'all have your foot on my neck consistently. Just story, post.
Keeping it there. Yes.
Damn. All right. Well, fair enough. Okay.
You're
so,
welcome.
To that end, turnabout is fair play, since I am now in control of asking the questions. Our season 3, I've decided that in this new season, we're going to ask, we typically ask people, who would you have a drink with that are alive? Blah, blah, blah. We're pivoting, we're shifting, we're doing something new. You can also answer that question if you like, but I'm going to now ask you, and everybody's going to be different. So if anyone's watching this who I'm not going to interview later, this question may not be the same. So buckle up. If Camille Wilson, aka the Cocktail Snob, was a cocktail, what would you be and why? Yeah, sit with that.
Oh
Sit
my
with that.
gosh. Wow. That, you could have prepared me for this, you could as a friend. But
No, this is what we call, gotcha journalism.
yeah, that's really, you got me. Okay. I'm going to just go with the daiquiri. I'm going to go with the daiquiri. I think because it is simple, not basic, but simple, right? Not fussy at all. It's just those 3 ingredients, but it is a conversation starter because as we both said, as we both learned, it's not just a blended frozen pink thing, right? So it's a conversation starter. People learn about it. And it's also like sweet and tart, which I think really does describe me. So I'm going to be the daiquiri. That's what I'll go with.
Okay. I had a feeling you'd say that. 3 out of 4. I agree. 3 out of 4 of those things.
Yeah.
Definitely not simple. Camille, for those, if you ever see us out in the streets together, people think that I am now giving you shit, but this is typically the other way around. I am, as the audience knows who's seen 2 seasons of this, if you've ever seen this before, or you just know me, I'm lovable and very sweet and a demure figure. And this one is not. So, no.
Cameras are rolling. Yeah.
Yes. So, we are almost at the 30-minute mark. We try to keep this quick half-hour sitcom. Where can people find you? Where can they buy the book? Give them all of the things where they can get to know, if they're not already following, which I'm assuming many of them are, but they want more Camille Wilson. Where can they get the Cocktail Snob?
You can follow me on Instagram. I am at the Cocktail Snob _. I am on my website where I post recipes and home entertaining tips as cocktailsnobnyc.com. And then my book, Free Spirit Cocktails, you can purchase it at all major booksellers. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, basically anywhere you can buy books, you can find it. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Awesome. No, thank you for taking part. Maybe at the Whiskey Lifestyle site, we will get some autographed copies of the book. We'll talk about that offline, but maybe we'll, throw some copies up. But, cheers, everyone. Happy whatever day it is where you are in this time when you're watching this. But thank you for listening to this because we are also an audio podcast. But cheers, everyone. Thank you so much, Camille. Thank you all for tuning in.
Cheers.